creativity,
ideas,
innovation,
change,
leadership,
development,
youth in entrepreneurship. Only on
Radio Riyaz 96.8 MHz.
Good evening and namaste. Welcome to the 5th episode of Youth in Entrepreneurship Season 3. This program is presented by Radio Riyaz 96.8 MHz in collaboration with Utsa Nepal. It airs every Sunday 5 to 6 p.m. I'm Medha, your radio host. The concept director for this program is Abhilasha Raimaji. Youth in Entrepreneurship is a radio talk show where we interview and share stories of entrepreneurs and attempt to understand the current scenario of entrepreneurial business in Nepal. Our guest for today's episode is Mr. Kiran Timsina. He is the co-founder of Urban Girl, which is one of the leading online portals in Nepal. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. Can you tell us something about Urban Girl?
Urban Girl, as you said, is one of the leading online portals where people can shop accessories, ladies accessories, fashion items, gift items, and cakes. Our target audience basically are females, age 18 to 30, and they've been buying from Urban Girl for last 3 years. It's a small startup that started in 2012 and has its, let's say, given a sister concern as UZ Cakes. It's a new factory that established in 2016 recently.
So, being a male figure, what made you start a company for girls?
To be honest, I really don't think that a male should start a company for male and a female should start a company for female. You can see, for example, big fashion companies, well, most of the founders are male, contrary to what you just asked. So it's not just about what you are, it's about what your interest is, where your talent lies. And one more important point in starting Urban Girl is the other co-founder is female, who has a lot of idea about fashion, shopping, and I had an idea about technology and how to use technology to sell. So since we combined these two concepts, she had knowledge of products and fashion, and I had knowledge of selling via IT. So when we combined these two, our business was ready to set up, and we just began it.
That's interesting. And why did you think of an online business?
Because the world is moving from brick and mortar store to online store. It's apparent that people abroad shop online. They don't want to go to a physical store and shop because everybody values their own time. Everybody is in rush. That is why people love to shop online. And since we did not have the resources or the businesses where people would be able to shop online in Nepal, then we thought, why can't we start it and be a pioneer in this industry?
And how are online stores compared to normal general ones?
They differ in quite a lot of operational mechanism. For example, an online store is a place where customer needs to go to the store and buy stuff. That is time consuming. On the other hand, online store is a place, a platform where people can buy instantly and get the product delivered at the doorstep. And that is the major difference between online and a brick and mortar store.
So, do you think you can lead the way to make online companies on the same level as the basic stores that many people prefer?
I think we can, not just we and a lot of other online stores that are being set up. Together we can achieve this goal.
You said that you can make online companies on the same level as the basic stores, but still large number of Nepalese do not trust the online products. How do you deal with this problem?
The answer is quite simple. What you give is what you get in return. What you give to the customers is what they give you back. If you give them quality service and quality products, they will give you quality orders. So as long as we try to keep up the service level, and as long as the other online stores try to keep up to this benchmark, I'm pretty sure that in coming years people will understand the basics of online shopping. They will understand that the service, online shopping is service oriented than product oriented, and they will have trust in the long run. But then again, I can't say that immediately this is going to happen because a lot of online stores are being set up by unprofessionals We have no idea how to start, how to operate. They have no idea of customer service. And I believe that this is actually making a negative impact on the customers about online stores, which in the long run will be mitigated by online stores that serve people professionally and who focus on service and products.
You might have some stories where customers complain about the products they buy online. Can you share some stories?
Yes, most of the complaints we receive about are cakes rather than accessories, because in accessories people have understood that the color of the product will look different when they actually see and what the photo camera captures. So they have a habit of shopping for accessories, whereas they don't have the habit of shopping cakes. And the main issue in cakes is, since we serve customized cakes and people order via phone and Viber, there is always a communication gap. What the people expect and what our service staff understands. Due to the communication gap, sometimes there are errors in making cakes. For example, I'll give you an example of yesterday's cakes. There was a cake, it was to be customized, and in the cake there were non-edible springs, metal springs, and on top of metal springs there were fondant hearts. The customer said to remove the springs and replace them with roses. Now, as cake manufacturers, we understand that roses can be placed on spring due to the weight. So we removed the spring altogether and placed 2 roses instead of spring and heart. And when the customer got the cake, she said that she wanted to have roses on top of springs, which was unpractical and impossible to make. So due to such issues, there are some complaints, but at the end of the day, we have been able to satisfy the customer by making them understand cake making, how cake is made, and what can be done and what can't be done. So sometimes issue arises because people still don't have the habit of shopping online, but if we can solve them with responsible answers and provide them compensation in case we have done some fault, they agree to receiving the product and probably buy again and leave a positive feedback.
So what are your daily sales?
Our daily sales, to be honest, fluctuates based on the season. For example, we have 2 departments, one that focuses on accessories and fashion, the other that sells cakes. So accessories and fashion products are sold mostly during occasions like Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, New Year, Shivratri, Holi, and such occasions, whereas cakes are sold almost throughout the year, but they sell mostly in bigger amounts during wedding seasons. So the sales amount fluctuates almost every month due to this seasonal sales.
And what is the range of prices of your products?
The range varies from rupees 200 and goes up without limit. Without limit in the sense that since we sell cakes as well, and cakes are customized, and people can order cakes of any size, so that is why there is no upper limit in the range. But the average price of accessories should be around rupees 1000, and average price of cakes is approximately rupees 2000.
Sir, now let us talk about the people that are working for you. How many people are working in your company?
Our company operates from 2 different physical locations. One is our corporate head office, where we have a team of 13, and the other is our bakery production factory, where there is a team of 7. So altogether we have a team of 20 people working for Urban Girl.
Do you get professionals in your field?
It depends. Wherever we can hire trainees and teach them to work, we hire trainees, and wherever we need professionals, we hire professionals. For example, for bakery, we cannot hire trainees, therefore we hire professionals to bake cakes and make cakes. And on the other hand, in our head office, we hire professionals as well as trainees. Trainees learn and they become professionals ultimately. So it's like a mentor and teacher. So there are professionals, there are trainees. Professionals teach those trainees to be professionals in the long run.
So do you give the trainings yourself or you hire people from the training centers?
We hire interns who are then trained inside our office. That is because since we operate as an e-commerce and there is no any training institute that offers training required for e-commerce, and that is why we hire freshers and train them inside an office.
Wow, you are giving employment opportunities to so many people. And now, how do you deliver your products?
Our deliveries are done in-house. That means we have our own logistics team, delivery guys who deliver the products. We have a team of total 4 delivery guys who work in 2 shifts. 2 guys work from 10 to 5, 1 guy from 10 to 2, then the other guy from 2 to 6. So that is how we manage our deliveries.
And what is your office time?
Office time is from 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. But then again, since we are online, people try to order almost any time. It could be 7 a.m. in the morning, 10 p.m. in the evening. That is why our customer service staffs are available even in the morning and in the evening at Viber, Instagram and Facebook. And since most of the people who order cakes need cakes in urgency, so for example, you might have a birthday program tomorrow and you realize that your friend's birthday is tomorrow at 7 p.m. So for that case, we have a hotline number of our bakery that operates from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. in the evening. And that is how we've been tackling this issue.
Are you able to make your employees happy?
I think we've been able to make our employees happy.
How is your HR's turnover?
It depends on the kind of staff HR we have hired. Whenever we hire a professional, they tend to stay for long term, and whenever we hire freshers, they tend to leave quickly, probably because of their future studies, and most of them leave because they want to try abroad.
Do you have people working with you since the beginning?
Definitely Nikita and I. We are the only 2 staff in the beginning and we've been working till now.
Now let us talk about the current scenario of entrepreneurship in Nepal. How do you see the current scenario of entrepreneurship in a developing country like Nepal?
It's quite obvious that since you already called our country developing, that means we don't have enough infrastructures, we don't have enough developed projects, and that is where entrepreneurship should kick in to create those factors that make this economy developed. We don't have online stores, we can set up them. We don't have logistics delivery system, we can set up them. We don't have food delivery system, we can set up them. We don't have bigger investment in IT projects for developing games, video games, or even apps for mobiles. You can start them. That is where entrepreneurship begins. Whenever you don't have things that you need, that is when entrepreneurship produces those things that you need. So as I see our country, as I see our economy, I see it as full of opportunities because we don't have almost anything that a developed country has. And the main thing that entrepreneurship should do and does is to create those things that are in developed economies, and we lack them.
You said that there is a scope for young people in entrepreneurship, and how do you think that more youngsters can be encouraged towards this field?
I believe the basic foundation should be strong, which can be given by the education sector only. Most of the people living Nepal, those are the young, those are the future entrepreneurs of Nepal, but they leave Nepal for their higher studies. Probably because the way we are taught at our school, the way we are grooved in our community, we are taught to migrate to a bigger economy and see bigger things there instead of trying to find out what we can do in our local economy. Our colleges, especially B schools, they have different orientation classes, seminars who teach us to go abroad, work at bigger companies, instead of teaching how to create your own company, how to start your own business, how to provide jobs. That is where we lack extremely.
What do you have to say to the young people who are leaving Nepal and going abroad for jobs and higher studies?
All I can say is, if they look our economy through a different perspective, the perspective that I see, they can find opportunities even here. In fact, they can find bigger opportunities. whatever effort they put abroad, if they put even a little amount of that effort inside Nepal, they can do bigger and better things.
What are the flaws and challenges that young entrepreneurs should work on?
Entrepreneurship is challenging no matter if you are young or you are aged. That is what entrepreneurship is. You take risk, you create an idea, you take risk and move ahead to test your idea. So there are always risks, there are always uncertainties, but the moment you realize that that is your idea and you need to strive to make it a success, that's when you go ahead with your idea and you keep on trying. You might fail, you might fall, but you need to keep trying. You need to keep modifying your idea, generate new idea and keep on testing it until and unless you have an actual product ready.
And what is your experience regarding young women in entrepreneurship?
Young women in entrepreneurship is the same as young men in entrepreneurship as far as I see.
But still there are few females working in this field and we see more males in this field. What makes this difference?
That is probably because our colleges, our schools, they teach the way females are taught and the way males are taught or grouped in the childhood differs. Males, they are more inclined towards science and engineering, IT, whereas females are more inclined towards normal banking studies, BBA and staff nurse. So that is why that differs. We have a different path we choose, or maybe that is a different path that our society has shown us, and that is how we differ in entrepreneurship. That is how we choose two different paths in future.
So what do you think can be done to encourage more females in entrepreneurship?
I think the best way is to teach them in their higher level studies such as bachelor level, show them the perspective of business, show them that Nepal is a place where they can use their mind, they can use their effort into creating wonderful new products. I think that is the best way. Education is the only solution. Meda, I would like to add a few more points into my previous answer.
Sure.
That is, even if females and males choose a different career path at their bachelor level studies, despite the fact what I see is females are too inclined towards entrepreneurship these days, mostly at fashion entrepreneurship, opening boutiques. Even I've seen a lot of females having their own IT company. So I think the trend is changing. If you look back 10 years, that was a different scenario where most of the entrepreneurs were male, but now the society is evolving and people have more freedom, especially females who were once a marginalized sex are now open and moving forward with their own ideas, and our society is evolving with it. And as far as I see, female entrepreneurship shouldn't be an issue in coming years, because females are going forward with their own idea, having their own companies, moving even in technology, fashion, and they are all over in entrepreneurship.
You are working with a female partner, and how does the society see this point?
I don't really think of society when I see my own profession, because society contributed nothing to entrepreneurship. Society will never contribute anything to entrepreneurship. That is why you shouldn't try to look through society's eyes when you have your own thought, when you have your own idea. You should try to look through your own eye and your founder's eye, if you can do well or not. Society will always be an obstruction.
That is a great thought. So how do you make plans and decisions for your company?
Plans and decisions are made mutually. Since Nikita and I are the only board members, we make higher decisions mutually, and sometimes some of the minor decisions, they are taken by operation in charge or even account, or individually, either Nikita or I. But whenever we need a consensus, we both sit together and decide on what has to be done.
Now let us talk something about your education. Can you tell us about your school and college life?
My school life is really weird and something you really don't see often. I think I switched 7 schools during my childhood. Right from class 1, I skipped class 2. I studied class 3. I studied class 1 in Terathum. I skipped class 2. I studied class 3 in Viratnagar. I studied class 4 in Khotang. I studied class 5 and 6 in Damok Jhapa. Then I came back to Viratnagar. I studied my class 7 8 but in a different school. Then I came to Kathmandu and continued my studies in Nobel Academy, where I stayed till class 12. Then I graduated from Apex College in Bachelor's in Computer Information System in 2012.
So you have seen many places of Nepal during your school life. What was the reason for your migration?
That is the life of a government service officer's child, because they have different posting almost every year, and I used to travel with them. So wherever they went, I went, and wherever I went, I was admitted to a school.
Have you planned to continue your further studies?
I keep plans aside, because whenever I think of studying my masters, there's always something I see I have to do for Nepal. And therefore, whenever I plan, I try to work on it, but then I can't. That is why I've been postponing my higher studies till now. But I know someday I probably might study my masters, but I don't have accurate plans for now, when and what.
Do you think that education degrees matter to become an entrepreneur?
I really don't think that you need to have a commercial degree to be an entrepreneur. In other words, when you have an idea, you can implement it anytime, any day. If you look an example of any bigger companies in the United States or Western countries, you will see most of them are college dropout. If you ask the question, why did they leave their college to start a business? Because they had an idea, they needed to implement it, and college was the barrier. That is why most of them quit their college and started their own business. You can see Facebook, you can see Apple, you can see Microsoft. Almost all of the big companies, they don't have graduates or doctorates at their founding level. They are just people who are studying. They had an idea, then they had to implement it, regardless of what their education is.
How was your economic condition when you first started Urban Girl?
When first started, we were quite broke, because I and my friend had started a different company prior to Urban Girl, and all the money we had was invested into it, which failed miserably. And I think we started with almost no budget. Nikita could manage rupees 10,000 from her modeling, and I could manage rupees 10,000 from my pocket. So all we had was rupees 20,000 when we started.
Were your family and friends supportive?
Family and friends are never supportive in entrepreneurship because they want you to do something that is stable. They are your well-wishers, so they obviously want you not to fail. Whereas entrepreneurship is almost a synonym of failure. 10 attempts, 1 success, 9 failures. Something like that keeps on happening in entrepreneurship. So you shouldn't, even when you try to do something new, you shouldn't expect that your family, your friends will be all supportive. Some of them might be, but most of them won't be, because they don't want you to fail, and that's the obvious reason.
From rupees 20,000, how did you manage your budget?
It's simple. You buy things, you sell things, and from that money you buy things, so you can sell things. You buy things, you sell things. It's a rinse repeat process.
And during that time, how did you convince your family that you want to continue this company?
I really don't remember convincing my family, because as I grew up in my bachelor's, I was not imposed much by my family. I had the freedom to do anything, to go anywhere, to study anything. That is why, though my family was not that supportive, because it's a ladies' business, you are selling earrings, rings and necklaces and all girly stuff, though they were not that supportive, but they didn't actually impose me anything that you shouldn't do this, you should do this kind of stuff. So I didn't have to work on convincing anybody. I knew that someday we will make this happen, and we had to keep on trying.
And how are your parents and friends' responses now at present?
I think they are proud.
Sir, do you face any hardships or challenges in your way?
Hardships and challenges, as I told you already, in entrepreneurship, these are your everyday things. You keep on facing challenges, you keep on tackling, you keep on failing, you keep on retrying. So that is your everyday business. Hardship, you tackle them. Challenges, you tackle them. You fail, you stand up, you retry.
So if you had to say in particular, what are some of the challenges that you face?
The biggest challenge, as I see, is logistics, especially inside Kathmandu Valley. The traffic is getting bigger and bigger every day. The roads, I don't know if they're expanding or shrinking. So it's kind of tough deal to deliver a product at the right time.
And how do you overcome this difficulty?
Overstaffing is the only solution, as I see, because we have no idea, there is no accurate time that it takes for a delivery. If you want to deliver from Baneswar to Old Baneswar, sometimes it takes 10 minutes, sometimes it takes 1 hour. So the only way to offset this is by keeping extra workforce with you. So that is what we've been doing.
How is the psychology and attitude of Nepalese customers?
They are our biggest supporters, because hadn't they supported us in the beginning, we could have never achieved this. However, that being said, not all customers are the same. Some of them understand, some of them don't, some of them fake their orders. So there are a variety of customers. Even if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman too. So the way I see customers is, we need to segregate our customer. We need to target our customer based on their behavior. Some customers are really good. We need to keep on solving them. Some customers are best avoided. Not because we don't want to solve them, but because we can't solve them to their request. So they are, even if they are our biggest supporters, sometimes we have had issues trying to satisfy them.
Is there any interesting story that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yes, interesting stories keep on happening. 2 days back, there was an order of Barbie cake. That was a huge cake that a customer ordered. She ordered it, she gave her phone number, she gave her landline number, and our delivery guys went to her address to deliver. Then she said that my cake is not for today, my cake is for tomorrow. We checked our records. She had ordered for the same day, but then since she needed it for the next day, we came back, we kept her cake in the refrigerator for the next day. And the next day we called her phone number was already switched off. Then we called her landline number. 4 times we called, we got 4 different answers. Once the person who picked up said she was her sister and she didn't know where her sister was. The other time she said she was her family member and the customer often visits the place, but she doesn't have her contact address. Next time she said that she was her neighbor. The last time she said she didn't even know that person.
So how did you deal with this problem?
There is no way to deal with this problem, because you never know if the customer is faking the order or actually trying to buy it. The only way I see is when people start to pay online, as in foreign countries, they are obliged to take their order. They are obliged to receive their order. So that is the only solution to this issue.
Now let us talk about your time management. Are you able to give enough time to your work, family, as well as your friends?
Time is fixed, whereas everything you said is never fixed. Friends, they are limitless. You can never have time for everybody. Family, if you count them, they are limitless. You can never have time for everybody. Work, that keeps on adding to your desk. You never have time for everything. So the only way you can try to manage is segregate your time. Work hour, justify your work hour, define your work hour, define your family time, define your friends time, and plan your schedules. Though it sounds a bit robotic, but I think that is the best way you can.
Now, where do you see Urban Girl in the next 10 years?
I've never thought of 10 years because I keep on planning at the moment for immediate what I have to do next. So probably Urban Girl will be one of the biggest online shopping portals for females in the next 10 years. That is our mission. We want to have this brand as a one-stop portal for everything a lady wants. It be cakes, accessories, clothes, counseling, anything. We want to have them. We want to give them that facility.
And how do you define success?
Success is the opposite of failure.
Are you able to go for parties and movies?
Sometimes, once in a blue moon, we go out to parties and movies.
Which was the recent movie that you watched?
Forgive me for I can't remember movie names. But I believe we went to movie a month back, not so long ago.
So, how was your previous movie experience?
It was good, but I'd like to recall an event that happened quite long ago. We went to a movie called Minion, that was long back, and we had to leave the show right before the interval because there was a cake pending for delivery and the customer was really anxious and she kept on calling until we had to leave the show and go for her delivery.
That was sad. So, are you able to do what you really want to do?
That was an event when I didn't have a proper time management. But then again, I said you need to have a proper time management to avoid such situations. These days, I do not go to a movie when I know there is a urgent task to be done. And I schedule things ahead of planning anything because if you don't have a proper time management, your plan is going to go haywire.
Now, do you have a message for your parents and your well-wishers?
Yes, you can count on me for what I'm doing, and I know I will achieve what I have thought of achieving, and you'll be proud of me one day even more than this.
We are almost at the end of our show today. So, is there any advice or suggestion that you'd like to give to the younger generation who aspire to be like you?
Definitely. First, don't aspire to be like me because you'll spoil your movie plans. The next thing is, you definitely need to see Nepal through a different perspective than you've been taught to see by your society, your friends, your family. Nepal, as it is a developing country, it is full of opportunities and you have that capacity, you have the right brain that this Nepal needs. Think of it as your host where you can utilize your manpower, contribute what you can, create ideas, test your ideas because testing your ideas in Nepal is cheaper than almost any country in the world. So you have that freedom of testing your ideas. Test it, try it, don't quit. Don't quit the future of Nepal.
We had a really enlightening conversation today, and I'm sure our listeners must have been inspired after listening to your stories, and they might want to be in contact with you. So, is there any contact information that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yes, you can reach me at my office at Main Bhavan.
Thank you, sir. We had a great time with you today on Youth in Entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Mida, for inviting me so I could share my story, I could talk to my audience. It was really inspiring and I hope I inspired at least a few lads, if not many.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome.
If you have any queries or suggestions regarding the show, or if you are a young entrepreneur yourself who would like to be interviewed on this show, you can write to us. You can message us on our Facebook page, Youth in Entrepreneurship, or email us at youthinentrepreneurship@gmail.com. YOUTH Youth INNENTREPRENEURSHIP Entrepreneurship. Youth in Entrepreneurship@gmail.com. You can also call us on our number 4670-820. 4670-820. You can also like our Facebook page and join our group Radio Riaz 96.8 MHz. You can also hear our shows on YouTube. Log on to youtube.com/Youth in Entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for listening to Youth in Entrepreneurship in Radio Riaz 96.8 MHz in collaboration with Utsaah Nepal. I'd also like to thank our concept director Abhilasha Raimaji. We will be back again next week with yet another amazing guest. Till then, take care and have a wonderful week. Namaste.